Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Housing Digital's Customer Experience Digitisation Masterclass. My name is Joe Broon, Managing Director of Housing Digital, and it's great to have so many of you joining us today. Over the next 2 hours, we'll be exploring how housing providers are using technology, data, and AI to improve customer experience, not simply to just reduce costs, but to build better services and stronger relationships with residents. We have 3 fantastic case studies from organisations taking very different approaches, but all with one thing in common: putting the customer at the centre of digital transformation. Throughout the session, please feel free to post questions in the chat. We will have a dedicated Q&A session after each presentation, as well as an opportunity to ask the panel more questions at the end as well. We now move on to our final keynote of the day, which is Kevin Hornsby. Kevin is the Executive Director of Customer and Communities at Ongo Homes. Kevin has taken a refreshingly different approach to community engagement, building partnerships that create lasting value for residents while strengthening local communities. Today's presentation explores how those partnerships are delivering social value through sport. Kevin, over to you.
Great. So thanks for having us, first of all. So we heard a lot today about digital customer contact, but this is really about, so when you've got that right, what do you do next? And I want to talk to you a little bit about our story of how we've transformed our customer and community engagement through the art of sport, really. So this is about our match day moments program and how we're connecting our communities, as I say, through sport. So the first image is basically the end game, really, in regards to where we've got to so far, the success stories. But I want to kind of talk you through where this came from, what we've learned so far, and then you're learning for yourselves in regards to working with local clubs to engage your communities within. Hopefully, we can share a bit of learning from that, what went well, what went wrong, and what we can do differently next time. So, Ongo, we are a housing association based in North Lincolnshire. We start across North East Lincolnshire, Lincoln itself, Doncaster, and Hornsby. So, quite a close geography, 12,000 homes. We pride ourselves on being more than just a landlord, and this is where this project comes from. Very values driven, but also wanting to create and sustain vibrant communities across the organisation. Context is, as an organisation, we're quite unique, so we invest about £1.1 million every year in community-based activities, so mental health support, employment support, initiatives such as today's initiative. So we set that money aside from our landlord function and give that to our charity and spend that every year on community-based activities, which again is a really positive to have and really good drive for the organisation around customer satisfaction and engaging customers in our work, essentially. So where did this all start from? This actually did start digitally, to be honest with you. So it just started from a quick LinkedIn message to a chap at Scunthorpe United Football Club in Scunthorpe. And it just said something like, there's a really good guy at Scunthorpe, Glyn, doing some really cool stuff in the community. You should really hook up with him. So that was the initial message I sent to Glyn in 2024 to discuss how could we work with you in a different way to link communities and sport together. And that's where the model started, really. So what's the model about? So the model is pretty basic in terms of business model. This is about investing in seats in the ground, so free tickets for our customers, and in return commercial revenue. So we met with Scunthorpe to discuss, what do you want out of the partnership, what do we want. Scunthorpe needed bums on seats, and also commercial revenue. We wanted free tickets for our customers to go to a game who wouldn't normally go to a game, in terms of that kind of social exclusion or financial deprivation. So really, a really simple business model: commercial input through advertising, for ticketing for games. We were quite conscious on this one around branding, so we didn't really want to brand the landlord function. This is essentially tenants' money, isn't it, that we're spending on advertising. So we were really conscious to use some of our commercial revenue from things where we make profit from, such as our recruitment agency or our roofing business, to invest that cash into community-based activities and access to football for our tenants. So Scunthorpe was the first one we began with in 2024. And this was about getting families into football. So as part of our deal with Scunthorpe, we have advertising boards. We get 50 free tickets for every single game. So that's 50 tenants going to the game for free for us. And in return, we provide a small level of sponsorship to Scunthorpe United. So since this commenced in August 24, we've had 2,338 tickets being given away to customers. Um, just over 1,800 of those being our tenants. Obviously, we support non-tenants as well in terms of clients and our services. So, and also running staff competitions as well when some of the tickets are underused. We can obviously offer those to colleagues as well. So, quite a useful model in regards to staff engagement. At Scunthorpe, we have a family zone, so we have our own zone for Ongo. So we have bespoke advertising, which is basically when they score a goal, there's a famous corner they run to. So our advertising's in that corner, advertise our recruitment agency as well as our employment support offer. And we can use the space for meetings, networking, things like that, which is really useful. Really, really positive in terms of customer stories so far. So we have lots of customers go to the game who wouldn't normally go and have such a great time. This is just one of our customers, Ashley, who came to a game with Ongo. We were the match ball sponsor, and her son got the kind of gift at the end of the frame match ball, which again is a big Scunthorpe fan that made his day. So it's all about creating those moments of magic within match day moments. So once we delivered that one, our board said, "What's next?" So we moved on to another operating area, which was North East Links, which is Grimsby Town Football Club. Again, had a really successful event with them, with the football players, with Santa Claus at Christmas, a Christmas party. One of the big learnings for us around Grimsby Town was trust within customer base. So we've got about 400 properties in North East Links Grimsby, and they're quite new to us in terms of acquisition. We invited our customers to this free event, meet Santa Claus, meet the players, come for free, win a football, and about 50 people came, which we thought was okay. But actually, everybody thought it was a scam. It was too good to be true. So there's definitely some learning for us around community engagement, building trust, and things feeling a bit too good to be true. So for us, there's a lot of learning within that one in terms of that partnership. We then moved on to another operating area, which is Doncaster Rovers. This is quite an interesting one because we've got about 300 homes in Doncaster and we weren't quite sure what we want to advertise in this area, but we had to travel up to Doncaster, met with the team there, and again, we come up with a deal where we'd get family tickets for our customers to every single game, and in return, we would advertise our mental health support charity, which is Ongo Talk, which is a service that we give to our tenants for free. But we also sell it commercially to other businesses to pay for the service for our tenants for free. So again, really good work with Doncaster Rovers, access to football, lots of stuff around VIP type events as well for our customers. So we can get customers on the pitch taking penalties, at half time. We can take customers to hospitality 3 times a year. So again, creating those real moments of magic that wouldn't normally happen to some of our customer base and a chance to really engage in our communities in a different way as opposed to, a visit at the door, etc. So really different partnership. Um, Again, board said again, when are you going to do a different sport? Why is it just football? So we've moved on to Scunthorpe Rugby Club, which is really local to us. Again, found really good engagement in the rugby club, access to rugby for our tenants, links to some of the national games as well in terms of discounted tickets, and obviously ability to use their meeting facilities for our tenant meetings. So again, just a different one for us to think about in terms of engaging communities in different ways, grassroots, getting people to play rugby as well as accessing rugby within our local club. And then I'm just flying through this because I know we're conscious of time and everyone needs their lunch. Last one for us, Lincoln City. Again, we have stock in Lincoln. We met with Lincoln City to discuss how could we work together with you in regards to access and sport in our communities. Similar model, some commercial revenue has gone into the club. No real advertising, just about really that social return. And in return, we get access to football for our tenants. Obviously, Lincoln are doing really well, got promoted last season, so you can imagine the demand for our tickets is very high. But again, it just gives us a way to engage with our customers in a different way at the match, and again, creating those moments of magic for us. How does it link to social value? So for us, obviously, as an example, social value return, it's about £5 million so far since we've launched the partnership. So on the Scunthorpe version alone, at a kind of ticket value of about £18, that's over 40k in regards to ticket values. Social value on that is just over £2.5 million. So, for the £1 we spend, £53 back in the social return is huge. It's on average usually about £15, isn't it, across the sector? So again, we're getting some really good social value out of that. It's not all bells and whistles, so I was keen to share some of the learning we picked up as part of being part of this new thing, housing working with football clubs. Some clubs don't always play ball. Some clubs don't always give you tickets. So you have to really negotiate hard in regards to what you want for your customers and that revenue going in. Advertising, as we know, can be expensive. So over the 2 years, we've spent £25,000 on advertising. Obviously, the social return is just over 5 million, so you could argue it's worth it, but it is an expensive regime. But we're committed to that as part of our million+ spend across the organisation. Operationally, it's heavy, so getting tickets, access to tickets, and having customers turn up to collect them can be operationally heavy. So what we have in place is we have a coordinator for each of the partnerships, and the trick with this one really is having somebody who's interested and who supports that club leading on the partnership. So we've got 4 partnerships where each of those leads is a fan of that club. So this actually doesn't feel like a job to them in terms of working with the clubs and linking customers in. It's actually a joy to do. So that's a really good learning for us. We yet to find any external funding that supports this, so we very much support this internally from our own funding. So again, we're really interested in how that could work in the future and link to other partners potentially. Believe it or not, customers can be unpredictable. So we've had many of occasion where we've offered tickets out and maybe 25% have not turned up and collect them. So that's when we get into the colleague kind of competition zone to try and get rid of tickets for the game, make sure that we're using our seats up. But again, we're trying to really understand customer behaviours from the last couple of years, looking at some of the data, who travels where, what's the success look like, so we can really engage with any barriers to attendance, really, which could be transport, could be childcare. We're really keen to unlock those things. Another learning for us was around the social value. There wasn't really a model within Hack to really measure in a true way social value. So we've been working with Hacked on a bit more bespoke work to be able to measure that in a more impactful way. Um, our demand versus logistics doesn't always work. So Saturday the game will always be busy. It's Tuesday night less so busy. So again, us working with the clubs on our allocation and making sure that's spread equally so that we get the most value out of it is a key thing for us. We've learned that not all clubs have the same value to tickets as we would think. So each club is quite unique and has their own way of dealing with things commercially. So it's about really being, I guess, flexible and agile with football clubs in regards to what their needs are and what our needs are, and how we somehow meet in the middle, really, in regards to the overarching partnership. This can create capacity pressures on the teams, as I mentioned before. So our leads do a great job, but they are doing this on top of their day job. So just say if anybody was interested in doing something like this around customer engagement in sport, then just think about capacity issues and kind of your long-term vision. Ours has grown naturally across the clubs, but I think we are at a stage where we'd have to create some new roles if we're going to do this any further in regards to new areas of work or new sports. Looking ahead for us at Ongo, what do we want to do next in this matchday moments work? We want to grow our presence around it and show the real impact of the work. So, what are the real outcomes for our customers as a result of being at the game? What was different at the end of it? What did that lead to? Was it jobs? Was it less isolation? Did they get rehousing? Did they engage in something different around employment? We want to reach more families, make sure that we're understanding our gaps and barriers and where people aren't attending, understanding that more and reaching all our geography. Looking at ways how we could use this program to reward tenants and colleagues in regards to behaviours or achievements. So something to think about for the year ahead. Really building in customer stories and feedback into our approach, refining the offer through use of our data. So we now know a bit about who's traveling where, who's attending why, and then kind of what the barriers are. So really using our data to influence what we do differently in terms of our annual partnerships, and obviously the use of AI to really support that in regards to how we best offer out tickets and using the feedback to really summarize where we are and what we do next, really. We want to do some more PR on this. So today we were invited to speak about this today, which we're really welcome. We want to do a bit more of this in terms of promoting it as an area of good practice and share it with others as a way of really engaging your communities. Each club has a foundation, which is kind of their charitable arm. Again, we want to do more work with the foundations to engage in more grassroots sport and access to customers, which we're doing with some of the clubs so far, but we really want to maximise that. And then something we've just started doing now, which is sports reporting, which basically each club has a sports report every quarter in regards to access, output, what's happened, what we've learned so far. And we're working now on a bit of a promotional video across the clubs to really showcase this, to sell it to customers even further, to get more people involved. So that's a whistle stop tour of our match day moment story. Hopefully not too quick, but hopefully just in the time I was allocated.
Spot on, Kevin. Thank you very
Yeah.
much. Yeah, you deserve all the applause in the world for what you're doing there. I think that's fantastic. And I think it's something that a certain Gianno Infantino at FIFA could learn a lot from as well, particularly with World Cup ticketing and accessibility. So yeah, I applaud you. It's amazing what you're doing there. Um, Obviously, it's a lot more than just supporting the local football club. It's about creating opportunities and strengthening communities. Um, how are you finding? I love football. Massive Sheffield Wednesday fan. You should work with them, by the way. Um, but how are you finding like the communities that are engaging with it and the communities that aren't? Where I'm going with that is it appealing to a diverse mix of communities, particularly certain religious or ethnic minority communities? Are you finding a good mix, or is it is that a factor?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. So we're just doing the stats now, really, in regards to what the data's telling us. What we do at Ongo, we do some deliberate kind of proactive work on this. So, for example, we've got a dementia scheme called Maya's House. So we've done some deliberate work to say we're going to get this group of people to the game. We're going to offer it up, put a bus on. We've got a quite a deprived estate in Barton upon Humber. Again, we're going to put a bus on, get lots of young people to the game. So we're doing some kind of proactive stuff to say where we know that there's going to be deliberate gaps, for example. What we've done so far is only broke it down into who's traveling from which region to which region. We've not broke it down any further to the that kind of like diversity level in the age range, which I think is the next step for us. So we've kind of gone into a kind of like second year, third year into the partnership. We've kind of done the right, let's learn from what works, get it to work, and now we're kind of doing the refining down.
Mm.
But what I would say is the accessibility to it is to everybody. Obviously, we're using digital channels to get people to ballot in for tickets. And the customer stories that we get as part of the application, why should we send you to the game? Obviously they make you cry some of them. It's just so heartwarming, some of the things we can do. But yeah, I think it's a next step for us. We can't work with Sheffield because we've got no stock there. So unless we get buy some stock there, then we can't go there. I'm trying to get us to Newcastle, to be fair, so it's not happening.
Does it lend itself more to the smaller clubs than the big Premier League clubs, do you think? Or
It's interesting because a lot of partners have been to see us about this when we had the DIN network come and see us. They were asking about how can they do it. I don't think so. I think it's about your joint alignment with your club in regards to what are you trying to get out of it. So I know, for example, a contact from Lincoln, they now work with Sunderland, for example, and they're working with the local housing association, obviously their Premiership. So I think it's about really sitting down with the commercial leads and saying, right, this is me. I'm from Ongo. This is what I want out of it. Where are you guys? What do you need? And then having that conversation regards to, right, how could we meet on the middle with this one? So we've learned a lot from Scunthorpe United in regards to just helping them with things like, for example, social value to help them with some flowering of some of their flower beds at the new ground sort of thing. So bits we can give back, which are free to us, but being that kind of active partner. And we've got a place in that club now where we're recognised and we can take customers in and we can run counselling sessions, for example. But you're looking across a football pitch rather than an office. Just imagine that it's a much better kind of backdrop for us.
absolutely. Mark, question from you.
I was just wondering what watching your presentation. It was very interesting, by the way. But I mean, I was wondering if you ever thought about doing something similar in terms of like, with arts and maybe literature. I mean, I guess it doesn't lend itself to this kind of initiative in quite the same way. But I wondered if you ever thought about doing something similar with, say, like local theatres, libraries, stuff like that in the arts literature sort of realm.
Yeah, it's a good question, Mark, and it's something that my CEO has asked me at least twice about. And the answer is yes. So what we've said is if we found the right sort of partnership deal and on the right terms, then we'd be open to something different. At the minute, we're at a stage where we're kind of at capacity in regards to the clubs we're running so far. So that the exec decision was to kind of pause and refine where we are at the minute and be almost a receiver. If someone came along and said to us, "Can we do this work?" Yes, of course we can, but we're not actively pursuing it. Now that might change when we start to really survey our customers in more detail. So we know from our recent customer surveys that one of the biggest priorities that our customers got is mental health support, for example. And we're just looking at our operating model now in regards to what we prioritize within that 1.1 million. So again, linking mental health to art could work. So yeah, we're open to it, but we're not actively. It's
Hmm.
like a merger. We're not actually seeking it. We're ready if someone comes, we'll have a chat.
Yeah, I imagine arts and literature is a lot harder to do this with than sport would be.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
think.
we support a lot of like dance clubs through our community grants programs, so they bid in for like £2,000 at a time. We support a lot of people in that way. I think another thing that would come from somebody having a real passion for that. So somebody's in our team came to us and said, "I've got a real passion for this. I would like to do some work." We would definitely be open to that. And that's what we've got with the existing leads at the club. So they've got a real passion for that football club. So they don't mind the additional tasks that they're getting because every now and then they go to a game or they'll take a customer to a game.
Well, as a bit of a final takeaway, Kevin, what would if another housing association asked you why they should invest in something similar, what's the strongest business case beyond simply saying it's the right thing to do?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think for us, the business case for us has always been about engaging with customers in a different way, and allowing access to sport for our customers who we know are living in quite deprived areas. And I think the kind of social side. So now and then we go to a game, or we'll take customers to a game, and I'll be there and seeing their faces at the end of the game, or hearing their stories about their children and how much of a day they had. Is it's you can't really measure it, but it's so powerful. And our board are really signed up to that in terms of those match day moments. Have really given access to our customers to get into football and engage with us. But I think in the next year or so, we're going to really start measuring the outcomes in a bit more of a defined way. So we never set out to do this project because it was going to impact the TSMs, for example. That's just obviously another output that could work. We didn't do this to improve customer satisfaction. It was never on the agenda. It was about talking to clubs and saying, "We've got lots of customers who like to go to the game, who can't afford it. How do we work with you to make it happen? And what can we do to invest in your club and in your local business, really?"
Okay, fantastic. Okay, we're going to wrap things up, I think. Kevin, thank you very much for a
Thank
really
you.
interesting story and a great presentation. I'd like to thank Rachel, Pete, Steve, and Kevin for sharing not just what they've achieved, but also the lessons they've learned along the way. I'd also like to thank our Housing Digital stakeholder partners for supporting today's event. I think today's presentations have demonstrated that digital transformation isn't simply about implementing new technology. It's about using technology, data, and innovation to create better experiences, make better decisions, and ultimately build stronger relationships with residents and communities. Hopefully, everyone watching leaves today with at least one practical idea they can take back to their own organisation. So thank you all for joining us, and we look forward to welcoming you to another Housing Digital event very soon. And I'll just take this opportunity just to mention the Housing Innovation Show, our two-day conference and exhibition at the ICC in Birmingham City Centre on the 4th and 5th of February next year. Registrations open on the 1st of September. Do check those out. It's housinginnovationshow.co.uk. It is free to attend. I hope to see you all there. Other than that, thank everybody. Thanks to everybody who attended, and hopefully see you soon.